So in addition to all of the other classic keyboard instruments of the last 60 years rock and pop history, I've demonstrated the Hammond organ and the piano and the electric pianos. We've got one more here called the Smooth Clav. Now what's that? Well, it's an emulation of a Hohner D6 clavinet, which was produced from 1971, and really a mainstay of funk music through that whole decade and beyond. Now I've got it defaults with the auto wah control here on, but I'm just going to switch everything off. Just make sure everything's at minimum, and the velocity defaults at maximum, but I've just opened it up very slightly so that I can show you the sounds available. So if I give you a demonstration of the 1972 line by Stevie Wonder on Superstition, which was really where this instrument first properly made a hit. Yeah, you can hear it's not overly possible to play it on a little keyboard like this, and my iPad is set vertically for the purposes of this film. But you can hear that that sound is very familiar. Now, we've got a drive control here, so that just makes it a bit dirtier. I'll just bring that up to the top. Just sounds a bit more fizzy, so it's anything but a smooth clav. So I'll just take the drive down to halfway maybe. Now the auto wah function, what this does is it's like a wah-wah pedal, but essentially it opens up more of the treble range the harder you hit the keys. So if I open my velocity all the way, so I've got maximum range, if I hit it harder, I get more of a wah sound, and if I don't, it's still quite sort of muffled. Now this is far more obtainable if you connect a keyboard to this via the camera kit, and that's going to be one of my videos coming up next week. Now, in addition to the auto wah, I'll just switch that off, we've got a phaser that's built in, which is a very sort of common effect to use with the clavinet. So it sounds quite sort of nasally. And then we've got one more thing called the damper. Now, on an original clavinet, there was a mechanical control on the right-hand side that you moved up to actually damp the strings. Now, how this works, really, it's a bit like tapping a note on a guitar neck. Your finger taps down on a string, and without plucking with your right hand, you get a noise out of the guitar, and that's essentially what this does. So it's lots and lots of guitar strings mounted underneath the keyboard, and then a couple of pickups. Now, with the original clavinet, you could actually get a combination of sounds. They've just taken one of the sounds for the purposes of this instrument, but it's still hugely useful, and it sounds great. So the damper at the moment is set to 0. So the note sort of lasts for a while. But if I bring the damper up, let's take it flat out so you can hear, it just takes all the sustain out of the string. Notice the sound that when I take my hand off the key, it generates a little sound. A little sort of sound. That's really emulating what would have happened on the original electromechanical version. So, rather erroneously, we also have a pitch control, but why not? You know, we live in a digital age. We need to make these instruments sort of developed and usable in other ways. So you have a pitch control that defaults to a tone each way. Like that. So, as I said before, this is quite difficult to sort of play on a, on a keyboard like this, but you can get a really simple line that goes underneath something. Whatever it is you want. You have the usual octave controls. Now, the original range of this was only 5 octaves, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was 5 octaves. It was quite a short keyboard, so high sounds on this, or very, very, very low ones, are not really that realistic. But there we go. There is your clavinet sound, and it's lots of people use it in addition to guitar parts, because well, after all, it is kind of a guitar instrument, and sounds quite similar in a lot of ways if you've just got a clean guitar sound. So it can really sort of complement the guitar. So there we go. There is your Hohner D6 clavinet sound.